All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Joseph, and I'm an esteemed student here at Notre Dame in a master's program. And today we're going to be talking about AI agents, workflow automation, and then we're going to try to build one here really quickly, a simple automation. Okay. So some context about why I'm giving this presentation. For the longest time in my life, I had always assumed that to build anything really cool, touch any line of code, any application, software, agents, that you needed deep technical knowledge to do so. I'm here to say that that's not the case. And if you take anything away from this presentation, is that I hope if I can build something and show you something cool today in 3 minutes, that all of you guys can do the same and much more. So let's first talk about what workflow automation even means. This is something that's been around for decades. And essentially, any process that has repeatable steps that are boring, repetitive, but can be automated represents workflow automation, right? So to make that a little clearer, let me give you an example. Every step that it takes after you order a pizza, after hitting click, to when you actually receive your pizza is a representation of workflow automation. The notifications that you get, the authentication of the payment that you made, the time that shows on the app, letting you know how long till you get your pizza. All of that's deeply automated because software is able to do those steps better than any human ever could. Now, recently, we've been able to throw AI into the mix of workflow automation because what AI is really good at is taking unstructured inputs and producing structured outputs from that. And I want to make a distinction here between AI and what agents are. Agents are essentially AI, but you give it hands. And within these hands, you give it tools. Okay, maybe not those kind of tools, but you give it actual tools that let your AI bot control and influence other software that you use on a day-to-day basis. Now, things like ChatGPT and Claude already have deep integrations into tools like Gmail, Google Sheets, any software you can think of, really. But what I'm here to show you and what we're going to do together today is building a custom agent, something that's highly customizable, flexible to your own needs. So today what we're going to be building is a very simple email triaging agent. Essentially what it's going to do is it's going to read through your emails, prioritize which ones you need to respond to, tell you what actions you need to take, and save you time from spending, your head and all of your hours in email. So to break that down, the first step is the trigger. This is the thing to start the workflow. What we're going to do is a time trigger. Essentially, let's say I read all of my emails at 10 a.m. I'm going to want this workflow to trigger at 8 a.m. so that it can triage all of my emails before I actually go and work on them. Next, we have the tool email, and that's going to get your emails. This third little tool is something that just formats all of the emails you want and then throws it into one prompt that the AI can then read. Then we're going to have AI read through that prompt. And once the AI, given the prompt that we give it, determines what to do with it, it's going to send an email back to you and give you an email digest. So go ahead and start building. I think it's showing this part of the screen, so. Sweet, okay. This is a software called N8N, and as you can see, this is the workflow, but we're gonna try to build it from scratch. Okay, let's delete that. So again, the first step that we said is we're gonna want this to run on a schedule. That's the trigger. And you can choose any time you want it to run. Let's just say 6 a.m. for now. I hit execute step just because when you build workflows on N8N, it wants you to ensure each node works properly before moving on. Next, we're going to get our emails. So we're going to go to Gmail and we're going to get many messages. Now, I know this looks really freaky, but let me break it down for you. Essentially what we have is I've already went ahead and connected my Notre Dame email to this. We're going to get many emails. We're going to limit this to just 3 emails for the sake of the demo. And I'm going to turn simplify off because that allows the whole text of the email to be thrown into the AI. I'm also going to add the filter of only searching through my inbox because that's where all of the important emails I already get exist anyways. Next step. Okay, it worked. Now, as you can see, it's returned 3 items. We're going to want that to become 1 item to then throw into ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, your choice. So we're just going to use aggregate here. I'm going to move a little fast just for the sake of the demo. But essentially, what you do here is all of the text that came from the Gmail node before exists right here. We're going to throw that into there, and it's essentially going to aggregate it all into 1. Execute step. Then I personally like Anthropic. Claude models are pretty strong, so I'm going to use that AI model. And we're just messaging the model here. Now, I'm going to choose Haiku. You can choose any of the models. It will work with them. And the prompt I have pre-written, and I'll show it to you once we put it in N8N. It's going to look like this. So it's pretty simple. Anyone can write this. Here are my emails. For each one, give me who the sender is, what they want, and what the action I should take is. And additionally, I'm going to first save that. Go back in here. We're going to have to tell the AI where to find the emails from. And as you can see, it comes from the node before aggregate. So we're just going to drag that over here. Perfect. We're going to hit execute. Cool. And finally, what we're going to have is we're going to want this AI to then send me an email that I can read before I look through any of my other emails. So I'm going to put my email address right here. You can call this the daily email brief. Wanted to send the emails in text, and the message it's going to send is what the AI gave us just before. Just drag that over, save that, or go ahead and execute it. So it says it's sent, and as you can see in my inbox, I had 3 emails before. If we refresh, you can see that the AI has successfully gone through the 3 emails I had before. So we have Mary, Institutional Research, and Audrey. As you can see, it's read these emails. It's telling me what they want very quickly, and then it tells me the action. We're going to want to save this email. We'll reply to this one, save that one. Now, that is a very simple workflow that we just built throwing AI. But you might be thinking, why does any of this matter, and how can I actually use it? Now, the first thing is that the process of taking a fuzzy problem, like how do I triage my emails better, and breaking that down into clear steps that a computer or software can then automate, requires critical thinking and problem solving. The skill of taking a messy problem and breaking it down into clear structured steps is the single most valuable skill you will ever have in any job or in life in general, and that takes you long ways. Second is you get a lot of time back for yourself. What we built is very simple. It's a very simple use case. You may get 5, 10, 15 minutes a day from this agent helping you, but that accumulates into hours over time. And something as simple as saving time from your email gives you a lot of time back to then spend on things that you actually care about and things that matter. So what now? The message I want to leave you guys with is you guys should go and brainstorm. What are some use cases that you can personally implement AI into? What can you automate? Now, this is an exercise because as you dive into it and as you begin to do it, you're going to realize that many of these big, messy problems that you think may be automatable may not be. Or maybe there are only a few steps that are automatable. But the whole purpose of this isn't just to build your technical credibility and fluency. but it also helps you get those reps of problem solving, trying to break down problems and simplify them. Second, I would like all of you to go on to N8N. It's a free software, and just try experimenting with it. It's very powerful, and you can do so much more than just triage your emails. The use cases are pretty endless, and it's very easy and yet powerful to use. And then third, I would recommend that you guys connect with me on LinkedIn, because I love hearing about all of this from you. I really like to hear how people are thinking about different use cases of breaking down problems. And if you have any questions, I would love to try and help you answer those questions to how to use this software. But above all else, the thing I want you to walk away from this presentation with is, I could build a 3-minute agent really quickly on this demo, and then all of you guys can build so many cooler agents that help you in different aspects of your life. And you should do it. Thank you. Woo!
Can I ask a quick question? Is there time?
There is, yes.
I'm curious about what are the securities and safety precautions around letting the agent go through your email?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of the security precautions, for example, depending on what type of model you use, the university has deals with Gemini. So if you were to include this with an agent that you built, using Gemini would be better, because the university tightly regulates that. But all of the information that you're giving it is strictly scoped out, right? And you can see that in the workflow. You get to, you decide what data flows into the LLM and what doesn't, right? So within the Gmail node itself, you can decide what kind of filters to put on, what kind of emails to allow, et cetera, et cetera. So in that sense, you get to retain autonomy over what data gets put into the LLM and what decisions it gets to make. So in that sense, you get to retain a lot of security and privacy.
Hi, this is great. Thank you. This is very exciting. I'm Brandon Rich, for those who don't know me, Director of AI Enable. We're also using N8N, and so we've had a lot of discussions about this. So it is, let's say, nuanced. So what's going on here, the first step, that's just like you connecting to your mail from your phone. It's kind of, it's yours, it's fine. It's the next step that gets a little tricky, because that message and its contents are going out somewhere else. It's true we have an arrangement with Gemini, but sometimes the licenses are a little weird. We're like, you can all use Gemini when you log in with it, but if I give you an API key to Gemini, that might be slightly different. That's something we can help with. We do have paths where you can hook up to language models that are more secure. And then there's the last step where it sends a message. It's taking an action on your behalf. So there is a risk. It's maybe small, but it is not nothing, that something in that message, an email message, could override the prompt, or give it different instructions, maybe have it do something that you would rather it not do with your email access. So there are things to think about there, and it's very powerful, but a lot of what we have to figure out is how to do this kind of cool stuff safely.
And that's one of the reasons that I recommend you guys use tools like N8N that allow you to break each step individually. Because if you're using something like Claude, it's a bit of a black box when you say, read my emails, send these emails, because it takes all the actions for you, whereas you get to go in and customize and see all of the, you have control over all of the steps in the process.
I'll offer one other thing. It's not as powerful as this, because it won't send email, but Google has built something directly into Google Workspace that lets you do some things kind of like this. And since it's built in, it already has access to your Gmail. I think it's called Workspace Studio. And there's one more session on Workspace Studio before the day is over, so check the counts.
Definitely.